via your office. Next order.
Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers.
Before the majority leader presents the papers, honorable members have been asked by the Honorable Dr. Nyikal to remind you that when you eulogized the doyen of feminist politics in Kenya, the Honorable Grace Onyango, we indicated that you may exercise your generosity at your own discretion, but it is good to do so, to do some form of check-off to support the family. I've been requested to remind you that the funeral of the late is this Saturday, and those of you who would wish to do so, I will direct the whips on both sides to speak to you, and you can sign off whatever you can to support the family. Thank you. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, Thursday, March 23rd, 2023. 1, report of the Auditor General and financial statements on forensic audit on procurement and use of heavy fuel oils for the period covered 1st July 2018 to 30th June 2021 by the Kenya Power and Lighting Company, PLC. 2, report on the performance of the special groups, youth, women, and persons with disability from Public Procurement Regulatory Authority. 3, report of the Auditor General on the following financial statements in respect of the institutions listed for the year ended 30th June 2022. Kenya Electricity Expansion Project, OFID, credit number 1487P, Rural Electrification and Renewable Energy Corporation. 2, Power Transmission System Improvement Project, ADF loan, Kenya Electricity Transmission Company Limited. 3, Petroleum Development Levy Fund, Ministry of Petroleum and Mining. 4, Arusha, Holili, Taveta, Voi Road. 5, Merile, Marsabit Road Rehabilitation Project, KE/001/09, loan agreement number KE-FED 2009-021-655, Kenya National Highways Authority. F is Study and Capacity Building Fund Project, grant numbers CKE 601501K, CKE 104301F, and CKE 104701K, the National Treasury. G, upgrading of Gilgil Machinery Road Project, Kenya Rural Roads Authority. H, multinational Kenya section of interconnection project of electricity grids of Nile Equatorial Lakes countries, ADF loan, Kenya Electricity Transmission Company Limited. I, Eastern Electricity Highway Project, IDA credit number 5148-KE, AFD loan number CKE 103001B, and ADF loan, Kenya Electricity Transmission Company Limited. J, Bogoria, Silali, Geothermal Project, Geothermal Development Company. K, Kenya Off-Grid Solar Access Project for underserved counties, IDA credit number 6135-KE, Ministry of Energy. I, National Treasury Capacity Strengthening Project, ID number PKEK00-00011, the National Treasury. M, National Agricultural and Rural Inclusive Growth Project, IDA credit number 5900KE, State Department for Crop Development and Agricultural Research. N, Small Scale Irrigation and Value Addition Project, ADF loan, State Department for Crop Development and Agricultural Research. O, Kenya Marine Fisheries and Socio-Economic Development Project, IDA credit number 65400-KE, State Department for Fisheries, Aquaculture and the Blue Economy. P, Kenya Youth Employment Opportunities Project, credit number 58120-KE, State Department for Labor. Q, Kenya Youth Employment Opportunities Project, IDA credit number 5812-KE, National Industrial Training Authority. R, 220 kV and 132 kV transmission lines and substations Exim Bank of India funded projects, Kenya Electricity Transmission Company Limited. S is a capacity development project for enhancement of rice production in irrigation schemes in Kenya under the State Department of Crop Development and Agricultural Research. T, Kenya Vision 2030 Delivery Secretariat. U, Judicial Performance Improvement Project, IDA credit number 5181KE, the judiciary. Next is Youth Empowerment Program grant credit number B4210, State Department for Youth Affairs. Strengthening fertilizer quality and regulatory standards in Kenya project Agro grant number 2013 SHP 001, State Department of Crop Development and Agricultural Research. And next is the Kenya Citizens and Foreign Nationals Management Service. Second last is the Kenya Development Solar Power Plant in Garissa project GCL number 201510, Rural Electrification and Renewable Energy Corporation. And finally, the Regional Pastoral Livelihood Resilience Project, IDA credit number 53880KE under the State Department for Livestock. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Cham. Majority Leader, Chairperson, Departmental Committee on Transport and Infrastructure.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Thursday, 23rd March 2023. Report of the Departmental Committee on Transport and Infrastructure on its consideration of the National Transport and Safety Authority Amendment Bill number 43 of 2022. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chairperson, Departmental Committee on Labor, Karemba.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Thursday, 23rd March 2023. Report of the Departmental Committee on Labor on the inquiry regarding sexual harassment of female workers in tea estates in Kericho County. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Before we go to the next order, honorable members, allow me to welcome in the public gallery Acacia Green Primary School from Kabete in Kiambu. On your behalf and on my own behalf, I welcome the school to the House of Parliament. Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Honorable Karemba Njiru, Chair, Departmental Committee on Labor.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I wish to give a notice of motion. Honorable Speaker, I beg to give notice of the following motion.
I wish to give notice of the following motion.
That this House adopts the reports of the Departmental Committee on the inquiry regarding sexual harassment of female workers in tea estates in Kericho County, laid on the table of the House on Thursday, 23rd March 2023. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Chairman. Next order.
Order number 7, questions and statements.
Question number 18, Member for Machakos County, Joyce Kamene.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In pursuant to the provision of Standing Order 42A, 5, I wish to ask the following question, 018/2023, to the Cabinet Secretary of Roads and Transport. What measures has the ministry put in place to provide for pedestrian foot bridges along an approximately 2-kilometer stretch of Mombasa Road, especially the crossing at Hilton Garden Inn and the Syokimau Railway Station / Nairobi SGR Terminus, and the stretch between Kappa Industries and the Mastermind. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable members, you will note that questions being asked today are the first batch that will be transmitted to Cabinet Secretaries to answer when we resume after the short recess. Question 069, Member for Elgeyo Marakwet, Honorable Caroline Ngeleche.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I raise to ask the question number 069 of 2023 to Cabinet Secretary for Environment, Climate Change and Forestry. Could the Cabinet Secretary, 1, explain the rationale behind the ban on maize cultivation in plantation establishment and livelihood improvement scheme, popularly known as PELIS areas? Number 2, explain why there is a massive decrease in forest cover percentage in Elgeyo Marakwet County despite the ban on maize cultivation under the PELIS system. 3, explain the pros and cons of maize cultivation under the PELIS system and clarify whether the area residents can revert to the initial maize cultivation in PELIS areas. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Your question will be answered after recess by the Minister for Environment, Forestry and Mining. I thought mining majority leader is with Blue Economy. Is it with the Environment and Forestry? Is with the majority leader? Is mining with Blue Economy or with forests? With forests. Okay. I thought. Question 070, Member for Lunga Lunga, Chief Foromondo Mangale.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Pursuant to the provision of Standing Order number 42A, 5, I rise to ask question number 070 of 2023. Could the Cabinet Secretary expound on the status of approval of payment of hardship allowance to teachers and public servants in Lunga Lunga sub-county, given the extreme working condition in the area? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. That will go to the Minister of Labor. Question 071, Member for Kaiti, Joshua Kimilu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to ask question 071-2023. Mr. Speaker, considering that the government of Kenya is the largest shareholder in Safaricom, could the Cabinet Secretary explain why the company has not been paying residues to its dealers according to the contractual terms, as it is the case for non-payment of dues for the period from January 2023 to date? 2, what steps is the government taking to ensure that Safaricom provides its employees with a conducive working environment that is compliant with fair labor practices, including checking on sudden changes of working station without adequate notice, which is disruptive? Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Kimilu. The question will be answered by the Minister for Communication, Information and Innovation. Question 072, Member for Rongo, Paul Abor. Member for Rongo, Paul Abor. Question dropped. Next question, question 073, Member for Teso South, Mary Emase. Mary Emase, no information about her presence. Question dropped. Question 074, Member for Gilgil, Mother Wangari.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to ask the question number 74 to the Cabinet Secretary for Interior and Coordination of National Government. Number 1, could the Cabinet Secretary explain why there is a shortage of birth registration materials, also known as B1 forms, in health facilities across the country? Number 2, could the Cabinet Secretary explain why mothers in public hospitals, especially those on the national government Linda Mama program, are being subjected to unnecessary detention after discharge as a result of unregistered births of their babies due to the above-mentioned shortage, yet it is the duty of the government to provide the B1 forms? And number 3, what steps has the ministry taken to ameliorate the situation and ensure that mothers who are due for discharge are not forced to incur additional bills due to unjust detention in hospitals owing to the government's incapacity to promptly register births as a result of lack of birth registration forms? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Wangari. Sorry, Honorable Members, the clerk informs me the Honorable Member Forongo had actually sent an apology that he is unable to attend the House today. So the Chair rescinds the dropping of his question and schedules it to the first sitting day when we resume. Next question, question 075. Member for Kabuchai, Majimbo Kalasinga.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, could the Commission explain why the payments to presiding officers, deputy presiding officers, and clerks that oversaw the Bungoma by-election for the senatorial seat in December 2022, Mr. Speaker, have been delayed up to date? What plans does the Commission have to compensate these presiding officers, deputy presiding officers, and clerks, Mr. Speaker, whose payments are long overdue, given the high cost of living, Mr. Speaker? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Your question will be forwarded to the Jailer Committee for answering. Honorable members, that's the end of question time. Next order. There is none. Oh, the normal Thursday statement by the majority leader, you've not put on the order paper.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Pursuant to Standing Order 44-2A, to give the following statement on behalf of the House Business Committee, which met on Tuesday, 21st March 2023, to prioritize the business for consideration during the week. Honorable Speaker, allow me to commend the leadership of the House on both sides and members for the dedication and cooperation exhibited in the session so far. Indeed, we have certainly set a good pace and met the statutory timelines in respect of all matters that were before the House in this first part of this session. That includes the budget policy statement and the debt management strategy paper approval. We are now due for a short break commencing after today's session, going by our calendar of regular sittings. Honorable Speaker, members will recall that on Tuesday, this House resolved to alter its calendar for the second session, regular sessions, by varying the period for the short recess so that it commences tomorrow, Friday, 24th March 2023, and ends on Monday, 10th April 2023, which is Easter Monday. The break will therefore be 2 weeks instead of 1 week. The House is scheduled to resume its regular sittings on Tuesday, 11th April 2023 at 2:30 p.m. to continue with the first part of the session. Honorable Speaker, the House still awaits reports on various items of business. This period gives committees ample time to expedite their pending business and finalize their reports on bills, treaties, approval hearings, inquiries, and responses to statements, which will be brought to the House upon resumption. Honorable Speaker, upon resumption, the House will continue with debate on the reports of the 144th and 145th Assemblies of the Interparliamentary Union, the general debate on proposals to amend the Constitution and the standing orders, and the Statute Law Miscellaneous Amendments Bill 2022, should they not be concluded today. Further, the House is also expected to begin debate on the ratification of the African Union Treaty for the establishment of the African Medicines Agency, AMA, and ratification of the agreement between Kenya and the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland on defense cooperation. The House Business Committee shall reconvene on Tuesday, 11th April 2023 to schedule the business for the rest of the week. Honorable Speaker, in conclusion, I want to wish all our Muslim brothers and sisters in the House Ramadan Mubarak as we begin observance of the holy month of Ramadan today, and indeed to all our Muslim brothers around the country. I also note that the Easter holiday falls during the recess period. Therefore, on behalf of the House Business Committee, and indeed the great people of Kikuyu constituency, myself, I wish members a happy Easter and a restful recess period as they spend time with their families and also discharge their constituency obligations. Besides, Honorable Speaker, noting that these 2 weeks will be a working recess for the committees to complete on the work that they will otherwise not be able to do during normal regular sittings. I now wish to lay this statement on the table of the House, Honorable Speaker. And as I said, wish all members a happy Easter and Ramadan Mubarak for our Muslim brothers and sisters, and remind members, Honorable Speaker, that this 2 weeks recess is a short working recess for us to be able to complete on many of the reports that committees will not be able to conclude when there are regular sittings. And when we resume after the short recess of 2 weeks, immediately after Easter, we'll expect that the annual estimates will be coming towards the end of that month, and therefore the House will be very busy. So also take your time to engage with your constituents and your families during this short recess, even as you take time in your committees, spend a little more time with your families, because the session after will be very busy. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Majority Leader. Next order.
Order number 8, procedural motion, extension of period of consideration of a legislative proposal to amend the Constitution.